Ayden Vance, a name that echoes in the hearts of millions. At just 24 years old, he wasn't just a tennis champion. He was a phenomenon, a living legend in the world of sports. Ranked number one, his name had become synonymous with victory. His every match was a masterclass in athleticism. His every move a display of precision and grace. Records, once thought unbreakable, fell before him like a house of cards. He had shattered every limit, transcending the world of tennis to become universally regarded as the greatest athlete to ever live. But what truly set Ayden apart wasn't just his dominance on the court. It was his spirit, his humility, his respect for the game, his kindness toward his opponents, his fans, and his family. In a world where fame often breeds arrogance, Ayden was an anomaly. He was loved, revered, and feared, not just for his unparalleled skill, but for his decency, his care for others, his unwavering integrity. To the world, Ayden Vance was not just a champion. He was the embodiment of what it meant to push beyond limits. He was the greatest of all time, the best athlete to ever walk the earth. He didn't chase greatness, he carried it, with grace that made silence in stadiums. He rewrote history, not with words, but with the rhythm of a racket and a heart that never broke. But no glory, no matter how bright, shines forever. And just as Ayden stood atop the world, the universe conspired to take it all away. A rare and mysterious disease began its silent march through his body, a thief, unseen, yet devastating. What followed was nothing short of a nightmare. In a matter of months, the unstoppable athlete was reduced to a shadow of his former self. His vision, once so sharp, began to blur. His legs, which carried him across courts and through history, betrayed him, leaving him motionless. The doctors had no answers. The top minds on earth could offer no solutions. He was a man broken, inside and out, caught in a prison of his own body. The world watched as the man who had been the symbol of strength and grace crumbled. The lights that had once adored him now seemed distant, fading like a star on the edge of the horizon. One day the world called him immortal. The next, his own body whispered betrayal. The strongest legs can crumble in silence, and the brightest eyes can forget the color of light. The world did not just take his sight. It took his sense of self, his family, his career, everything he had worked for. Alone, isolated, Ayden found himself adrift in the vastness of a life that no longer made sense. Fame, wealth, respect, all meaningless now. He stood alone, not because they left him, but because he no longer saw himself in their eyes. In their place was a hollow ache, an emptiness that threatened to swallow him whole. One night, Ayden stood on a bridge, the cold wind sweeping over him, the city lights flickering like distant stars. His heart weighed heavy, burdened by the endless questions of why. Why him? Why now? And so there, on the precipice of darkness, he made his choice. The world had no place for someone like him anymore. His pain was too great, his future too bleak. He was ready to let go. He wasn't afraid of dying, only of living without a reason. Hope doesn't always shine. Sometimes it flickers from a cold screen at the edge of goodbye. He had nothing left, and that's why he finally moved. And then, in that moment of despair, something changed. A blinding light. A voice, soft yet clear, calling through the silence. There is a new world, a new chance, a place where your pain can be tested, where you can be part of something bigger than yourself. A program for those who are willing to risk everything. It wasn't salvation, it wasn't a miracle. It was an offer, a chance to leave behind the world that had rejected him, a way to escape the prison of his own mind. And for the first time in months, Ayden felt a flicker of hope, a spark in the darkness. Without a second thought, Ayden stepped away from the bridge. He had nothing left to lose, and yet, something deep inside him still yearned for a purpose. Days later, Ayden found himself in a sterile, futuristic lab, surrounded by people whose faces he would never remember. Scientists, doctors, experts, all busy, all focused on him, but none truly seeing him. They whispered to each other, analyzing his disease, assessing his condition, and then they told him, "You are perfect for this experiment. If you survive, it will be the greatest breakthrough humanity has ever known." The agreement was simple. He would sign away any claim to his life, to his safety, to his future. They were not responsible for what happened on the unknown planet. And in his silence, Ayden agreed. He signed his name on the dotted line, not for money, but for the hope that maybe, just maybe, he could find meaning in this unknown journey. The program, they told him, was a top-secret experiment on a newly discovered planet, one that had been deemed hostile by Earth's brightest minds. The details were scant, the risks high, but Ayden didn't care. He didn't need guarantees. He didn't need promises. He only needed to escape the torment that had become his reality. To them, he was just a vessel. To him, it was the last place where he could still be human. Ayden Vance, the greatest athlete the world had ever known, was about to embark on the journey of a lifetime. His destination? A planet no human had set foot on, a world far from the comforts of Earth, where every moment would be a battle for survival. But as the spaceship's engines roared to life and the stars outside beckoned, Ayden felt only one thing: emptiness. The stars were silent, as was Ayden. For the first time in years, he was no longer a champion, no longer a figure of strength. He was simply a man, drifting toward the unknown, hoping for something he couldn't yet understand. And so Ayden Vance's journey into the cosmos began. A man once crowned with glory, now a shadow of himself, drifting through the stars. What awaited him on that hostile world? What trials would he face? Only the endless void of space knew. This is just the beginning. For in the stars, Ayden Vance would find not only the truth about the world, but the truth about himself. He wasn't seeking a new world. He was searching for the silence to get answers. Why me? Is my life worth living? Anything there that can bring me back to life?